Guys, welcome back. So we thought today we'd do a little follow-up video on last week. We started off testing some of the X-Line golf balls from a bunch of the premium brands. We ran through Chromesoft X, Pro V1X, Z-Star XV, and also the last one was TP5X. Today, due to your request on the channel, we added in the AVX golf ball as another low spin option.
Got a bunch of requests, so we said let's do it.
Why not? We have a bunch of them here, so we thought we'd run that one through there as well. And I'm really glad we did, because we saw some really interesting results.
I agree, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, last time I think we done an AVX test independently.
Yes.
But
we did Pro V1X and AVX.
This is really good to add it in the mix though and see how it performs against other low spin golf balls. I mean, generally speaking, that's what people are going to these X line of golf balls for a little bit less spin, a little bit firmer feel, that type of thing.
Totally. Yep.
Okay.
So we started with, this was a mid-iron and wedge test. So we started with a 7-iron.
Exactly. So we started with 7-irons, full shots, which for Matt is around about a 180 carry.
180 shot, yeah.
We tried to control as many of the variables as we could, such as ball speed. Obviously, we don't want them going too far offline because that can change launch and spin based on face angle. So we thought we controlled this one really nicely today.
Agreed.
And the numbers were very valid from that standpoint. So averaging out around 127 ball speed was what it kind of came out at. Launch angle, for the most part,
amazing.
Almost 18 exactly degrees. AVX was a little bit lower. Chromesoft X was a shade lower. But spin is where we saw the biggest variance.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, so the high spinning of all the ones we tested was the Callaway Chromesoft X. Not something we were surprised by.
Yeah, you said a lot of your ball fits, you find that the highest spinning ball.
Yeah, if people come in needing a little bit more spin, invariably Chromesoft wins that one.
So Chromesoft regular, not the X, obviously spins
is
even.
normally our highest spinning ball in the store.
So this for the X version of a ball, this is your best bet for
That's
high spin.
Exactly. Yep. So so that one spun just under 7,000. Pro V1X, interestingly enough, spun very similar at 6,900.
Pretty much the same.
Yeah. So we were surprised maybe to see that one spin that much, but it did. After that, we had the TP5X, 6,500 on the spin rate on that one.
I noticed the flight a little flatter when I was hitting that guy.
Yep.
And obviously the next two you'll get to, but Chromesoft and Pro V1X definitely had a spinnier looking flight, but in a nice way, like not in a negative way. With the 7-iron, 6,900 spin is good for me. Yeah. At my speed, I guess.
Yep.
So we started to see a little difference in ball flight, which that's what you always hear is TP5 kind of gets through the wind a little better and stuff like that.
That's a great point in wind, and a couple of people raised that. Mitch specifically raised that point about the aerodynamics package, and that's such an important part of this whole conversation. That obviously indoors we're not able to really test that the aerodynamics of it. So we're testing the flat cam controlled environment sort of variables that you'd have in a golf ball, and wind being an external variable.
But if you got less backspin into the wind, it's going to get through the wind better.
It's going to get through it there a little bit, definitely a little bit better. Obviously the dimple pattern, the depth of dimple, what we would call the aerodynamics package, which is basically the cover of the golf ball and how many dimples, all that sort of stuff. That stuff matters in terms of how the ball performs in the wind. From what we hear and independent ball testing, TP5 really does well in those tests. Strixon does really well in those tests.
And wind tests, really?
Yeah, really good. A lot of people will say they really hit the Strixon golf ball well in the wind. Which is, I'm not surprised about that with the Strixon, because it will show up as we show all three tests that we've done today. It was pretty low spin.
Lower spin, yeah.
So maybe that's one of the reasons people see a little bit less kind of, variable in terms of the curvature and that sort of stuff.
And for a bit of a firmer ball, as you mentioned, and I kind of felt that as well. One of the firmer ones in the series.
For sure, definitely a little bit of a firmer feel to it. Once we were going through the test, I said to Matt, do me a favour and kind of try to grade the golf balls in terms of how they feel, in terms of hardness, softness, that sort of thing.
I was trying.
And you said to me, I don't really feel much of a difference.
Not much. So this one, Strixon, yes, a bit firmer. Pro V1X, a bit firmer. I actually think the AVX felt really soft.
For sure.
Like
I mean,
really soft.
Even when you hit it, like
really
the sound is very,
different.
very muted. AVX being the lowest spin
which
one.
we knew would be the case.
And a lot.
Quite a bit from the highest spin, but I guess you could argue it's not terribly far behind the Z-Star.
Not terribly behind Z-Star, but in terms of
behind
Chrome
the other
Soft,
one.
1,200 RPMs.
Yeah, it's a lot.
That's it's almost 2 clubs of spin. That's almost where I would expect you to be, sort of with probably 5 iron for you, but maybe even a shade above 4. So really does for those out there who struggle with that ballooning flight. I would really encourage people to go try that AVX and see if that kind of helps your ball flight flatten out a little bit and get a bit more distance out of it. I mean, you carried it 5 yards longer than Chrome Soft X being the shortest. Most of them are about 180, but that was 184. It's half a club. It is. So for some people, that it doesn't matter to you, but for some people out there, that's going to matter to someone that's watching this. So I think
5-6 yards on your irons is pretty significant.
Definitely. Yep. Right, let's look over into the sand wedges now. We saw again a bigger difference, and as spin increases, we see a wider gap between the high spin and the low spin. And again, it was the Chrome Soft that spun the most. It was the AVX that spun the lowest, and there was almost 2,000 RPMs between them. Pretty significant. Quite significant.
Really, the difference between kind of spinning a ball back a few feet and the ball releasing a few feet. Yeah. So I mean, if you're looking to hit shots exactly on your yardage, you could be up to what is that, like 15 feet of difference in terms of the spin back to the rollout? Yeah,
I mean, I think there's going to be so many things that it really changes. Days when you're playing into the wind, you're trying to hit wedge shots into the wind, and all of a sudden, you spin it at 2,000 more with that Chrome Soft. It's just going to eat it up. Versus the AVX, obviously it's going to do that. It's going to spin a lot less and kind of go through it. So, that difference is significant. So, Chrome Soft was at 12,382 RPMs, lots. Quite high. Second was TP5 at 12,104. Then we had Pro V1X at 11,952. Okay, Z-Star at 11,750. And then the AVX at 10,685. So a similar kind of lineup to how it went with the 7-iron. That's it. So we have two extremes. We have a Chrome Soft X that's very soft. We have an AVX that's much firmer cover. That type of thing. And then you've got 3 that are quite similar in the middle. I'm starting to kind of see a bit of a trend that I really like a TP5 golf ball for you. It's looking good, isn't it? It's good. Yeah. It's a nice balance of everything. It's got some short iron spin. It's got some mid-iron control. Be good for me in the wind, I guess. With the aerodynamics and such. I really think it would be. So it's really the exact same. I guess the same thing. Yeah. So it's exactly the same results every time. Chrome Soft is by far the high spin. It's at 8,300, followed by TP5X, followed by Pro V1, followed by Z-Star, followed by AVX. So the same order. It's the same order in pretty much every single time, which I think gives the test even more validation. That we are seeing that same performance the whole way through. Chrome Soft high spin, AVX low spin. Big difference. And if you are the type of player who needs a little bit less spin, through the irons and wedges, AVX is your boy. Yeah, and if you want to zip the ball big time, get a Chrome Soft. Clearly. Even the X is a ton of spin. Definitely. Yeah. And then you've got the 3 in the middle, which are kind of less apart. But I would say that the Strixon has shown itself to be a very low spin golf ball. And I've been playing that one, and it's interesting that that's actually a slightly, because I don't necessarily need. Well, I certainly don't need more spin in my irons. Right. Or really my wedges. So it's I'm almost relieved to see that, to be honest with you. Yeah. But I will be curious to try this guy, because if it's as good in the wind as people say it is, maybe a little extra control would be good for me. Yeah. Yeah, I think between those two, you'd be pretty comfortable, wouldn't you? Yeah, agreed. Yeah, exactly. Very cool. Okay, so this kind of rounds off the X line of golf ball testing. Yeah. We've got the mid-range golf ball to test. That's our next test that we're going to do. So, Strixon Q Star, Tour Soft Titleist, Project A.
Bridgestone, we're going to get one of the Bridgestone
We're trying to get
models.
some of the Bridgestone golf balls. I know you guys have really wanted to see it, and we'll probably do a standalone Bridgestone
we got asked
test.
about that because there's so many balls in that line that are intended for a slower speed. I think it's good to do.
Yeah, exactly. So we'll try and cover that whole range. I mean, you probably we could do golf ball testing till the end of time.
You pretty much could.
Yeah,
there's so many offerings, aren't there?
So many different ones. You know, we'll do some. I know there's some questions on putter testing. Not so much performance, but you know, we might want to do some blind testing where we kind of go, okay, hit 5 different putts and
that's a good idea.
See what you like the feel of the most, which gives you the best feedback. All that sort of stuff we can certainly dial in. People's preferences to the feel of the golf ball. It's important.
Awesome.
Cool, guys. Any questions? Obviously leave them below. Any other kind of golf balls that you want added into this mid golf ball sort of test?
Leave us a comment.
Yeah, that's our next one we are going to do. So, we mentioned the golf balls we are going to do. I think Super Speed by Callaway was the other one.
Super soft.
Super soft.
Is that what it is?
Super soft. That's exactly what it is. I think that was the only other one we had to go in there. So, if there is another golf ball you would like to see, obviously leave the message below and we'll add it in there.
Definitely.
Okay. Thanks so much. We'll see you soon.